Hello, this is the Vitruvian Club. Before you watch this video, I recommend that you watch the companion video titled A Ballad of Silicon Valley, which is the song that this video will be analyzing the lyrics of. So it's going to make a whole lot more sense if you watch that one first. And it will make even more sense if you watch the other two songs that were posted previously on this channel, My Valentine and Anima Mundi is the second one, but that's not as necessary. Anyway, let's get into the song. So, The Ballad of Silicon Valley. Certainly a provocative title, and this one was written with, I guess, the smartphone in mind, and social media as well. But let's get into the lyrics. Open season on our souls tonight. Insomniac, guided by a blue light. Yeah, we start out swinging with this one. But I was thinking about how sacred the moments before you fall asleep are. It's a time in which you can reflect on your day, in which your brain can kind of deactivate. Or maybe if you want, you can read a book. Or maybe if you want, you can say a prayer, you can meditate. But the blue light of the smartphone is a great disruptor of this. And it breeds the insomniac. Or perhaps the insomniac is guided to something like this. Maybe it's a intertwined toxic relationship. But what I'm trying to say is that using your smartphone before you go to bed and having access to, all the internet and all of the extreme stimulation before you're supposed to be resting for the day doesn't seem like a good thing to me, at least, and it hasn't been a good thing for me. And when I stopped doing that as much, I felt as though it was a little easier to go to sleep, and I didn't have to just be stimulated when I couldn't fall asleep right away, right? Oh, we've the world, but we're always alone. How many people are dragging along? And this is directly related to the previous line, in that, we are able to access the internet and the whole world, essentially, that is connected to it, because in the current year, at least, I would say, I don't know this for sure, I haven't looked up the statistic of it, but I think that most of humanity is engaged with the internet in some way at this point. And I think everyone experiences this dilemma of being engaged in the world around you and with the people around you, and being engaged in this virtual world. And at least in my experience, and in the experience of others that I've spoken to, this extreme interconnectedness is, let's say, as wide as an ocean and as shallow as a puddle. And that these connections that you make, not always, but a lot of the times, are not necessarily deep and meaningful connections. So these billions of people have the whole entire world at their disposal, but they're entirely alone. And this brings us to the chorus. Free your mind, and that's all I say, because of, one, because of the importance of it, and because of the, the simplicity of what we need to do, and the emotional despair that's attached to it. Next up, we have Polarize the world's on fire, an endless quenching of desire. This one's interesting, and I can relate the correlated novel to this as well, Brave New World. But yeah, Polarized the World's on fire. I don't think I have to explain that too much, and that it really does seem, with the internet and with this interconnectedness, both the greatness and the greatest aspects and the worst aspects of humanity have become centerfold, and it could be overbearing, and it could be dangerous, because if we're not vigilant on maintaining the strength of the good, well, then the badness is going to overpower it faster than it ever has been able to before. And that's something that really frightens me. And the more people are kind of ingratiated in the internet, the more they become victim to this uncontrollable force of polarization, where you can't sit back and allow yourself to kind of discern between these things. You're kind of just thrown between these things without any conscious realization of what is right and what is wrong. It's devolving into this tribalism. And one of the most dangerous parts about this, and I think one of the consequences, or one of the reasons in which this is happening, is this endless quenching of desire, in that we just gravitate towards these things that resonate with our preconceived notions without reflection, in that, oh, I see this thing that I tend to dislike, these people are also disliking it, and they're getting all rowdy about it, so I have a community in which I can engage with that gives me pleasure, full of hate, essentially. And that is an extremely dangerous thing, to satisfy yourself with pleasure without reflecting on as to whether that is a good thing to be pleased by. And I think, well, the book Brave New World is all about this, right? It's instead of, a 1984 totalitarian society through fear, it's a totalitarian society through the appeasement of pleasure, in which you don't really need to question what's good and what's bad, because you can just feel what's good, right? And you don't have to think at all. So everything that is present in your life is perfect the way it is, and we should further engage in pleasure and hedonism, because that's just how it should be, and everyone enjoys it, right? But of course, the book Brave New World is about even in this utopia, quote unquote, let's say the soul breaks through, and that's really what the whole novel is about. And then we have the chorus again, free your mind. Yes. It's but it's very, it's very important to free your mind. That's why I repeat it 4 times in each chorus. Next up, we have the bridge. Break our necks without a gallows, dig our grave and make it shallow. I thought it was funny, the image of hold on, spider web. I'm gonna do a limbo. The image of everyone having their kind of like their necks crone down over their smartphones, which is something that you see a lot today. Sometimes I'll be looking around in, let's say, the elevator, and I'll see everyone with their necks crone down, looking at their phones and not looking around. Even in something like a park, your neck's crone down, looking at your phone, being stimulated, and not looking up at the trees and the sky. And I think that's a really, really bad thing. And that's why I relate it to the gallows of breaking your neck without a means of execution, right? Dig our graves and make them shallow. That's kind of a reference to what I was talking about before, this incredibly wide ocean that is as deep as a puddle. and we won't see them anyway because we're not using our discernment, we're not using our consciousness or our reflection to engage with anything. It's all just being overstimulated, which I believe I forgot to mention that line of which I can mention it now. The overstimulated, we cannot cry, so we pretend to be angry, which is directly related to this, in that we're so overstimulating ourselves that we cannot allow our emotions to come to be and to address our despair and our sadness. So it manifests as anger, and I've seen this in a lot of people. Like I said before, everyone's so angry online because we're kind of appeasing ourselves with this anger and not addressing what's kind of making us angry. And in my experience, what makes you angry is always the sadness within, and always a disconnect from within. And this overstimulation, as I was saying, prevents you from coming to that realization, which is incredibly dangerous, and incredibly dangerous for the individual, but I think for specifically a world in which we live in which we have, let's say, nuclear weapons, right? In that no one is engaging with what makes them uncomfortable within. Instead, we are projecting outwards our discomfort as anger and violence, and you could easily see how that will, in maybe not the not so long run, have a consequence of total destruction for the individual and also for all beings, right? Okay, after that little diatribe, where was I? I was on the bridge. Oh, it was saving us from this brave new world, and that, of course, is a reference to what I was saying before about the novel of Brave New World. Excuse me. Oh yeah. Yeah, reference to the novel Brave New World that I was referencing before, in which, well, if you read the novel, it's, kind of pessimistic in that, is there an escape from this world that has come about, of this world of unconscious appeasement of pleasure to essentially squash the individual, right? And then I end in the chorus again, and I haven't really talked about my songs musically yet, but I'd like to reference the last part of the song, where I have these really, really gross sounding discordant chords that I play, I think twice over. And I chose that because it sounds like really uncomfortable, but it was an attempt to emulate the uncomfortableness we're kind of supposed to feel at this, in this brave new world in which we've found ourselves, and the sadness that this ballad of Silicon Valley is supposed to kind of portray. And referencing the title, I recognize that I am, of course, putting this out on a platform that is owned by a company that is considered a part of Silicon Valley. So I recognize the hypocrisy of it, but I think, and I don't think that everything that comes out of Silicon Valley is necessarily bad, but I think that we need to use our discernment to figure out what is good and what is bad. And I don't think that as a society, as humans, we're really succeeding in that. And well, I guess this is one of the reasons that I wanted to even put this out on a platform like this, is in order to provide something good to said platform, and not just to remove myself from it, because I don't think that everyone else is going to do the same, and it doesn't feel right to just abandon everyone. Well, anyway, that's about it for this song. Thank you for watching. If you made it to the end, I appreciate it, and stick around for the next coming weeks as this album progresses and as we see kind of this story unfolding about about this, maybe this inability to cry because we're so angry, right? That's probably the most important thing that we can take away from this song specifically, and also tie it back to our other songs. All right, well, I'm gonna go now. Goodbye. Have a good day.